With another GOP debate behind us, once again, it's become clear Vivek Ramaswamy is the standout candidate here. While Nikki Haley had some good moments, I think it was mostly not that great for her, but a lot of people do like what she says, despite the fact that she doesn't open her mouth when she speaks, and I believe that's disqualifying. Ron DeSantis probably had the best debate performance so far. I really do think he did a good job. He had some great answers. There are still some personality issues, but Vivek Ramaswamy, no question, took the stage. And now they're coming after him. I think one of the most important moments of the night was when Ramaswamy made several assertions that January 6 appears to be an inside job, that Saudis were involved in 9/11, and most importantly, that the Democrats have embraced what is commonly known as the Great Replacement Theory. Now, this one's interesting, and it's causing a bit of controversy. What is the Great Replacement? Well, it originates in Europe. The general idea being that elites in Europe are trying to replace the European culture and ethnic majority with non-citizens and new ethnic majorities over a long period of time to eventually erase and homogenize Europe. Simply put, Europe is and has been for a long time very, very divided. And it's kind of obvious, all these different countries. You take a look at the EU, and there is this desire to have it function much like the United States. The only problem for Europeans, well, if I go from New York to Maine, everybody be speaking the same language, sharing in mostly the same culture. But if you go from France to Germany, they're speaking a totally different language, and they're not that far away from each other. This language barrier actually does result in division and cultural differences. So the argument with Great Replacement is that these elites want to bring in as many migrants as possible from North Africa, from the Middle East, so that it dilutes and creates a universal band across Europe, like a band of people that have more in common, or I should say creates a lower common denominator. They don't have a lot in common, but being not from these countries, it would. That's the general idea behind the theory. Some people take it a step further. Many people who want white nationalist policies. However, in the United States, it typically and more flatly refers to Democrats are trying to bring as many illegal immigrants into the country as possible to help them shore up their voter base. It's not that these illegal immigrants actually vote. It's two things. The first, when a non-citizen moves into a Democrat area, that area receives more congressional power. When they do the census and this state says we've added 1 million new people, they're going to say, well, we got to give you a new congressional district. The only thing is these people may not actually be citizens. So it helps bolster their congressional seat apportionment. And it actually it gives them an electoral vote count and a seat in Congress. So I believe California in the 2010s it was estimated 1 extra electoral vote and congressional seat based on non-citizens. Now, the whole thing's rather complicated. But of course, even the Free Beacon is misrepresenting Vivek Ramaswamy and his positions. You're not going to get a fair assessment. And I think Megyn Kelly did a great job calling out Chris Christie and bringing up the issue of transgender children and parental rights. But she had, I think, one of the, look, I think Megyn Kelly's great, but come on, Megyn. This accusing Donald Trump of wanting a Muslim ban is a gross misrepresentation of what Donald Trump was saying. Megyn Kelly says that Donald Trump has vowed to bring back his Muslim ban. That's not what Donald Trump said. Trump said if you sympathize with Hamas or extremists, that is disqualifying. Now, of course, Hamas and extremist Muslim ideologies does overlap with Muslim, but Donald Trump is not talking about banning some dude for being Muslim. Donald Trump is talking about banning a guy because he sympathizes with terrorists who are murdering people and who murdered people on October 7th in Israel. There's a huge difference. And I think if we're going to have a fair conversation about what this country wants to do, you have to be honest about these things. But there were many, many great nights. Vivek Ramaswamy obviously takes the cake, but I believe Great Replacement is now center stage. People lit up over this. And of course, you're now getting tons of leftists and woke journalists being like, Vivek Ramaswamy is pushing an anti-Semitic conspiracy theory. Look, if the Democrats do a bad thing, then their allies in media create a version of it, which is going to be anti-Semitic and conspiratorial. There is a couple different views on what great replacement is. I'm not a big fan of the phrase great replacement. The way I see it, Democrats know that they need to build a voter base because several reasons. One, they don't have kids, they abort their kids, and they lose ideologically to Christian conservatives. So they do want more immigration. There are dozens, if not hundreds of videos showing Democrats outright saying, we need more migration into our areas if we're going to win these elections. I got a Newsweek article pulled up to break this down for you. But I'm going to start with this story from the Free Beacon. Ramaswamy claims 9/11 government cover-up pushes great replacement theory. Well, I should do this more often, but before we get started, hey guys, support the work we do. We are sponsored by Cast Brew Coffee. It's our coffee company. We're building culture. The purpose of the coffee company is so that we can have a physical location. We are building coffee shops, and we want to have 1,000 across the United States. I don't know how long it'll take us to get there, but when you buy coffee from castbrew.com, and I got to tell you, Appalachian Nights, my favorite coffee. Best coffee I've ever had. I'm not exaggerating. Rise with Berto Jr., stand your grounds. When you buy from castbrew.com, you're supporting this show. So there's our plug to help run the company that we're running and produce more content. So again, castbrew.com, but let's read the news from the Free Beacon. Vivek Ramaswamy, during the Republican presidential debate on Wednesday, accused the U.S. government of hiding the full truth about the September 11th, 2001 terror attacks and of orchestrating the January 6th attack on the Capitol. Now, this is what I love. I am surprised the Free Beacon of all outlets is grossly misrepresenting Vivek Ramaswamy. I despise all of these people. They are liars. They are manipulators. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything for you guys. I will call out anybody who deserves to be called out. On Timcast IRL, we have no problem saying Donald Trump authorized a commando raid, which reportedly resulted in the death of an 8-year-old American girl. Now, I think we need an investigation. I don't think any president should get away with whatever that is. Barack Obama killed a 16-year-old American citizen. He should be in prison for this. This we actually have confirmed. The Trump story, allegations. Allegations, I think, warrant a deeper look. But I got no problem calling out anybody. And I like Trump, and I'm going to vote for Trump. I mean, we'll see what happens over the next year. But I am sick of the people in media who want to manipulate you because they want something. I can't stand it. Vivek Ramaswamy he accused the government of hiding the full truth about September 11th. They're trying to make it seem like he's a truther. Vivek Ramaswamy correctly stating that the Saudis were involved. And we now know this due to declassified documents. And they're trying to make it seem like he's claiming the government was involved or something. Disgusting. And of orchestrating the January 6, 2021 attack in the Capitol. I'm going to say this for all of you, my friends. January 6, it doesn't look like it. Vivek, say it outright. January 6 was an inside job. This is not in dispute. This is known fact. And I'd love all of the Media Matters people and all the far leftists, whatever, to clip that and remove the following context that comes from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who said police were helping people get in the building. How about the individuals who were acquitted because the judge agreed? Cops opened the doors and fanned them into the building. How about the videos where there's police opening the barricades and waving people in? January 6th was an inside job. How about the video where the Capitol Police are giving a guided tour to the QAnon shaman, Jacob Chansley, walking him around, showing him the doors, and bringing him to the Senate chambers? So you want to talk about inside job? They're going to try and make the argument inside job means that, like, the Biden administration was themselves involved in orchestrating this. No. Inside job. The police at the Capitol opened the doors and allowed people in. One cop even put on a MAGA hat. And he claimed it was because he was trying to blend in. Yeah, okay. Inside job doesn't mean the whole thing was orchestrated or that every single person in government was in on it. An inside job means you had criminal elements within the government who aided and abetted the riots on January 6th. Now, I'll slow down there a minute and just say it rather simply. The whole thing was not a riot. Some people did not realize what was going on, but inside job, no question. AOC complained, like a year ago? How long ago? Is this a year and a half ago? That there are police on camera taking selfies with these people walking in the Capitol, helping them. We now have more footage. Police actually taking the cuffs off of people who have been detained. Now, how is this possible? January 6th was an inside job. Now, if you want to argue about did feds incite, that's more of what Vivek Ramaswamy is referring to. And there is some evidence to suggest that there was incitement by feds. But to the degree that it sparked the rioting, we have questions about Ray Epps and things like that. I think it's possible. That I'm not going to wade too much into. I can tell you this definitively. If Capitol Police are on camera opening the door, allowing people in, removing their handcuffs and taking selfies with them, fanning people into the building, there is no question. It is a fact. January 6th was an inside job. But don't let them misconstrue it, because this is what they do. In much the same way they're trying to misconstrue the Great Replacement theory, they are trying to misconstrue what actually happened with January 6th. Again, I'm not saying Joe Biden allowed it to happen. I'm not saying Nancy Pelosi allowed it to happen. Maybe, I don't know. I'm saying it's a fact that cops opened the door and let people in, fanned them in, and took their cuffs off and gave them tours. That's the police aiding and abetting people on January 6th. How is it not an inside job? Here we go. The 38-year-old pharma exec also embraced the controversial Great Replacement theory, which has been endorsed by white supremacists. So what? It's been endorsed by Democrats, too. Free beacon garbage, including the teenage gunman who shot up a supermarket in a largely black neighborhood last May. You see what they're doing here to attack Vivek Ramaswamy? Why am I the only person on stage? Well, let me play the video for you. Let's just roll.
Enemy is not Donald Trump. It's not even Joe Biden. It is the deep state that at least Donald Trump attempted to take on. And if you want somebody who's going to speak truth to power, then vote for somebody who's going to speak the truth to you. Why am I the only person on the stage, at least, who can say that January 6th now does look like it was an inside job? That the government lied to us for 20 years about Saudi Arabia's involvement in 9/11. That the Great Replacement theory is not some grand right-wing conspiracy theory, but a basic statement of the Democratic Party's platform. That the 2020 election was indeed stolen by big tech. That the 2016 election, the one that Trump won for sure, was also one that was stolen from him by the national security establishment that actually put up the Trump-Russia collusion hoax that they knew was false. There's a reason why I'm the only person on the stage who can say these things. That's what it's going to take, not people who are licking his boots one time and now Monday morning quarterbacking him and criticizing him when it's convenient.
I love how they're, did you notice that? Maybe she was just clearing her throat, and then that'll do, sir. Wow. Well, we got this one. NBC News, Vivek Ramaswamy promotes January 6th conspiracy theory by suggesting it was an inside job. The GOP presidential candidate has also weighed into conspiracy theories about 9/11. You see what they're doing? It's not a conspiracy theory that there were Saudis involved. These are declassified documents. They are misrepresenting what he's actually saying. Vivek knows this. Welcome to politics. Not the first time they've done it to him. And we'll break that down too. But NBC News, these people are evil. Yeah. I said Democrats are evil, and then I get all these I get the Krasensteins being like, oh, Tim's just saying this for clicks. This is what they do. It's evil, it's malicious evil, or the banality of evil. NBC News, which is it? Vivek Ramaswamy did not push a conspiracy theory. It is not a conspiracy. Oh, actually, it may actually be, but it's not a theory. It's a fact. It is a fact. The police opened the doors. There have been acquittals based on this fact. The cops aided and abetted the people who entered the Capitol on that day. Not universally. I can already hear the Young Turks being like, you mean when those people were fighting with police? I know that people were fighting with police because inside job does not mean every single cop, the entire complex across was in on letting people in. But you mean to tell me that you have how many cops on video giving guided tours and you're like, that's not an inside job? So let me put it this way. There's a bank with 1,000 employees. 2 guys who work for the company allow bank robbers to come in and steal money. Is that an inside job? Yes, that's quite literally what inside job means. It means criminal elements within that bank aided the criminals who robbed it or were the ones who robbed it. Inside job doesn't mean every single employee all ran into the safe and stole money. So Vivek is correct. And he could take it one step further, and he should have taken it as far as I just did. Next time he goes on stage, Vivek needs to say, there are videos of Capitol police officers aiding and abetting the people who entered the Capitol on January 6th. There's dozens, if not several dozen. That's an inside job. But whatever. Let's talk about great replacement theory. Newsweek published this op-ed analysis. Democrats are massive hypocrites on so-called great replacement theory from May 23rd, 2022 by Pedro L. Gonzalez. He goes on to mention the shooting in Buffalo and and mentioning Michael Knowles saying Democrats are using immigration policy to change the demographics of the United States in a way that would seem to help them politically. And this is a stated political position of the Democrats. It's not a theory. It's not fringe. It's what Democrats are saying on TV. But they're lying to you. The media, and I do respect Newsweek. Newsweek has their bad articles, but they run it fairly middle of the road. They've given me an op-ed to counter the lies from that Jamie what's his name? Raskin. There you go. I was going to call him something else, but here we go. Pedro writes, the suspect left behind a 180-page document outlining a schizophrenic worldview. He goes on to mention Democrats using immigration policy. Biden and company latched onto that part of the murderer's incoherent screed to pin the shooting on their political opponents. In essence, Democrats argue that Republicans' rhetoric and positions on immigration radicalized the shooter. There's a small problem. Democrats and progressive activists, based on their own rhetoric over the years, subscribe to replacement theory more than anyone else. As Vice President Biden himself said, that a constant and unrelenting stream of immigration would reduce Americans of white European stock to an absolute minority, and that this was a source of our strength. Democrats weren't always so sanguine about demographic change, though. Recall the late Senator Ted Kennedy assured concerned Americans in 1965 that the 1965 Hart-Celler immigration law would not upset the ethnic mix of our society. It would not. He goes on to say, obviously, Democrats have changed their tune, abandoning their historic political bloc of the white working class, often Catholic, voters, and the so-called coalition of the ascendant, in which immigrants are key. For the so-called, sorry. It's not a conspiracy theory. It happens to be the same demographic argument Ray Teixeira made in Emerging Democratic Majority, as conservative commentator Ben Shapiro noted. Teixeira published in 2004 the Emerging Democratic Majority. In his words, Democrats should exploit economic and demographic changes, including the growth of minority communities and cultural shifts among college graduates. And simply put, the growth of those communities has been due to policies that have facilitated mass migration. It is worth also noting that Teixeira has said Democratic activists bowdlerized his thesis as part of their efforts to coalition build on identity politics. 2013 Politico concluded that amnesty for millions of illegal aliens would produce an electoral bonanza for Democrats and cripple Republican prospects in many states. They now win easily. The following year, James G. Gimple, a professor of government at University of Maryland College, published a study that found the flow of illegal immigrants into the country, 29.5 million from 1980 to 2012, has remade and continues to remake the nation's electorate in favor of the Democratic Party. It's not just this. It's the Democratic politicians who've gone on TV and outright said, we need more migration. Looking back on Trump's election, New York Times opinion columnist Charles Blow reduced Trump's victory to white extinction anxiety. He cheered that the 2020 census showed the browning of America, the shrinking of the white population, and the explosion of the non-white. Jennifer Rubin, an opinion columnist for the Washington Post, echoed Blow, tweeting that the census results heralded a more diverse, more inclusive society. This is fabulous news. Now we need to prevent minority white rule. If anyone is radicalizing people in this country, it's those who have ostentatiously declared themselves to be on the right side of history. Now, Pedro goes on quite a bit more, but he's correct. There are numerous videos you can watch where Democrats embrace the idea of bringing in non-white migrants to displace the white majority population to win elections and reshape the country. I'm not saying every single Democrat embraces that. I'm saying Newsweek has the article quoting these people. So when Vivek Ramaswamy brings it up, of course, they're going to claim that he's anti-Semitic. And I love that's what they're doing. Now, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get into a little bit more of this debate analysis. And I actually want to we're going to do a compliment sandwich here for Megyn Kelly because she actually did a really, really great job. I thought she asked there were several instances of really great questions and pressure on people I don't like, but on everybody. There was one moment where Chris Christie, she called him out on the transgender children issue because Christie lied, and it was masterfully done. And however, okay, we're doing compliment sandwich here. This exchange is wrong, in my opinion, and I will criticize Megyn Kelly for this gross misrepresentation of Trump's position. I'd like to play for you this video now.
Now, Ambassador Haley, former President Trump recently promised, if he's reelected, to bring back and expand his program restricting immigration from Muslim countries. Here he is in Iowa on October 16th.
No longer will we allow dangerous lunatics, haters, bigots, and maniacs to get residency in our country. We're not going to let them stay here. If you empathize with radical Islamic terrorists and extremists, you're disqualified. You're just disqualified.
Ambassador Haley, do you support President Trump's plan for ideological screening?
Well, I don't think that you have a straight-up Muslim ban as much as you look at the countries that have terrorist activity that want to hurt Americans.
All right, let's pause right there. I got to be fair to Megyn Kelly. She said a ban from Muslim countries and an ideological ban. And look, man, I feel like this is a gross misrepresentation of what Trump is saying. Megyn Kelly should have said, Donald Trump has proposed a restriction on radical extremist ideologies. Trump's saying from anywhere. They're trying to make it seem like Trump is outright saying no Muslims ever. Donald Trump said if you empathize with radical Islam, haters, maniacs, and of course, Nikki Haley transforms it even further into it's a Muslim ban.
The countries that have terrorist activity that want to hurt Americans. You can ban those people from those countries. That's the way we should look at it, is which countries are a threat to us. You look at what came across the southern border. What worries me the most are those that came from Iran, from Yemen, from Lebanon. Those areas where they say death to America. That's where you want to be careful. It's not about a religion. It's about a fact that certain countries are dangerous and are threats to us. A president has one job, and that's to keep Americans safe. And that's what we've got to do, is make sure that we have good national security in that process. And that's the way you should look at it, is where the terrorist threats are, how we're going to deal with it, and what we're doing about it. And
I respect Nikki Haley's answer, but I'm going to say this: disqualified. I'm sorry. Nikki Haley doesn't open her mouth when she talks. Okay, I just can't get past it. Don't know, don't care. Nikki Haley, she's been doing this the whole time, and I don't know why, but she talks with her lips going wide and her teeth staying tight. And I don't understand what she's talking like this, where she makes sure to bare her teeth without opening her mouth, like she's growling at you and talking like this. We need to have a ban. Yo, what? I'm sorry.
Mr. Haley, do you
for those that are watching
President Trump's plan for
ideological
screening?
well, I don't think
ideological screening. I think it's a mischaracterization, and the fair approach should have been Donald Trump has vowed to I get it. Technically, it's the truth. I'm not a fan, though, but
that you have a straight-up Muslim ban as much as you look at the countries that have terrorist
I'm sorry, dude. I'm just gonna. My mind is blown. Nikki Haley, it's the weirdest thing. She uses her lips, but her teeth don't move. Why is she gritting through her teeth to talk to us? No, I mean, for real. We can talk about bobblehead Ron, okay? Whatever you want to talk about. You can talk about Chris Christie being a large man. I honestly don't know what you'd throw at Vivek Ramaswamy, to be completely honest. Or maybe talk about Ron DeSantis wearing high heels or something. But why is Nikki Haley, the whole time, her teeth stay closed and her lips go up and down, but her mouth is not opening? It's a weird thing to be hung up on, but I think it's a weird behavior. It is robotic and strange. When you talk through your teeth, it's usually because you're angry. I can't even open my mouth as much as she does.
Activity that
or my lips.
Want to hurt Americans. You can ban those people from those countries. That's the way we should look at it, is which countries are a
that's
threat
crazy,
to us.
man.
You look at what came across the
She doesn't open her mouth when she talks.
southern border. What
She's
worries
talking
me the
like
most
this
are those
with
that
her
came
teeth.
from Iran, from Yemen, from Lebanon. Those areas where they say
Okay, whatever, man. She's right. She's right about the issue of a quote unquote Muslim ban. Trump is talking about specifically extremists. But there are a few things that I do want to go through, of course. Here we go. Trump vows to expand Muslim ban and bar Gaza refugees if he wins presidency. And even The Guardian points out he's talking about, quote, Immigrants, ideological screening for immigrants, barring those who sympathize with Hamas and Muslim extremists. Okay. Now, let me go back to what Megyn Kelly said.
Ambassador Haley, former President Trump recently promised, if he's reelected, to bring back and expand his program restricting immigration from Muslim countries.
You see, I feel like that's very disingenuous. Trump's restriction also included Venezuela and North Korea. So to say it's from Muslim countries doesn't get to the core of what Donald Trump was actually saying. She should have said Donald Trump vows to bring back his plan to bar immigration of extremists and radical ideologies, particularly Islamic extremism. And everyone would go, oh, okay, well, why aren't we doing that? Shouldn't we be doing that? Yeah. And now I can't get over the Nikki Haley thing where she doesn't open her mouth when she speaks. But whatever. Here are some great moments as we wrap up this segment. Vivek Ramaswamy taking the stage. You may have seen this. Vivek Ramaswamy held up a notepad that said Nikki equals corrupt. You know why he did it? I'll tell you why he did it. Because he wanted to make a meme. He did. And of course he would. Because this man knows the internet. And he knew, as everyone knows, when you hold up a pad of paper on the internet, you will be memed. And so what I'm just waiting for Dick Butt to pop up on it. But that's an old meme, but it checks out. And now everyone's posting memes of Vivek Ramaswamy with the notepad. So this image I posted last night, 9:29 p.m. After Vivek holds it up, I immediately took a screenshot on my phone and then I blurred out, I said, have fun. Go for it. Yeah. Hey, look, there's a lot to break down. I think Vivek Ramaswamy did an absolutely phenomenal job. We have this amazing photo where before Vivek held this thing up, you can see that he's got the notepad that says Nikki equals corrupt on the lectern. But one of my favorite moments was the absolute smackdown of Nikki Haley when Vivek said, name 3 provinces in Ukraine that you want to defend. And Nikki Haley's face went blank. Wow. It took her like 20 minutes. Chris Christie jumped in and said, you hate women. You hate women. And then Vivek was like, go eat food. I'm kidding, but like kind of that actually happened on the debate stage. Vivek went off. He said, name 3 provinces. They're called oblasts, but I know that the average person doesn't know what oblast means, so province makes sense. And, for me, I'm like, I don't know if I could because I'm like 80% sure I know the oblasts in Ukraine. Luhansk and Donetsk are obvious because that's the contested region, which was part of the Donbass region and the land bridge going into Crimea. But I'm like, I know of like Kharkiv and Kiev, but is that the name of the actual oblast? It is. Zaporizhia, etc. And so eventually, Nikki Haley did mention, I believe she said Luhansk, Donetsk, and Crimea. And interestingly, wrong. Crimea has already, for about 10 years, been part of Russia. Russia took it over. And so that's not something trying to be defended. So I guess on a technicality, you could say they want it back. But the regions where you'd probably be talking about defending are like Donetsk, Luhansk, Kharkiv, and Kiev. That's where the invasion took place. But fine, I'm being a bit pedantic. She eventually did answer, but he left her speechless. She couldn't respond. You know why? For the same reason I didn't immediately respond. When this question came up, I thought to myself, what are the oblasts? Like which ones are we referring to? I don't want to say the wrong one. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure it's Kharkiv, Luhansk, and Donetsk. But I'm not sure Kharkiv is the name of the oblast. I think it might be just the city's name. I don't know how they name these things. Imagine being on a debate stage and you're unsure. I'm on my show last night being like, let me fact check this real quick because I don't want to say something wrong. I don't want to misinform people. And then I was correct. That was the name of the oblast. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Nikki Haley was in the same boat. So I can empathize. She was like, I'm on a debate stage. She can't immediately fact check. And she's thinking, if I say the wrong name, I have my Aleppo moment. Vivek nailed it. She did not care enough about this country to even justify why we're at war there. And that's what matters. We had a great super chat where they pointed out, Nikki's not stupid. Nikki Haley is not stupid She just doesn't care. She wants war, and that's what you will get. So let me wrap it up by saying this. I think Vivek stole the show. I think he did a tremendous job. And I think Nikki Haley doesn't open her mouth when she speaks, and it is very weird and annoying. It's a weird behavior. I don't understand. It's worse than the Yahoo moment from, what was the guy's name? I can't remember the guy's name. Yahoo! What was that? Dean? Whatever. I don't remember his name. That was a long time ago. Howard Dean? Is that who it was? Whatever, man. I mentioned this last night, and I'm like, I can't do it. Sorry, Nikki. If your teeth are too big and you can't talk without talking through your teeth, it's weird. Whatever. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up at 1 p.m. on this channel. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all then.